we are discussing about Haccp today. You understand, like, as a food industry background people or a nutrition background people, a lot of people doesn't know much about Haccp. We have to understand what is Haccp and the importance of Haccp in order to clearly understand the concept of food safety. So food safety, it's a very broad term. In that, Haccp is the very phenomenon word which will be used worldwide. You understand this, you can't able to crack it. Okay, until unless you know much about Haccp, you couldn't able to understand the concepts. So you can write Haccp in a very clear manner. So after this, you will be able to clearly identify what is the requirement of Haccp in food industries and other requirements. Okay, let's discuss about this Haccp in very clear manner. The word Haccp understands gives a lot of meaning in food safety. If you call any person in a food industry, you know anything about Haccp means, they say they will be very happy to announce lot of information about Haccp. Haccp broadly a given information about what is the phenomenal controls which we have to manage in a food manufacturing or a processing or any other requirements. The food safety has a widely significant word in the food industries of food safety. The Haccp is a widely phenomenon used word. Okay, the Haccp means hazard analysis and critical control point. I will be writing here hazard analysis. And this is very important. If you don't write and just mention about hazard analysis critical control point, doesn't help you. This is very important. You may get a question like, what is Haccp abbreviate? Hazard analysis critical control point, hazard analysis and critical control point, hazard analysis or critical control point, like that. So you should be able to understand this, and is very important. Critical control point. Hsccp, hazard analysis critical control point. We will be talking about this very clearly. Okay, you see this. The word Hsccp is describes hazard. What is a hazard? We will discuss about analysis, identifying the hazards and mentioning the critical control points. Means critical control points. The word itself gives a lot of information. Critical, very important. Control measures means controlling the aspects, controlling the risks in specific points of interval in the process. That's what it is describes in Hsccp. Hazard analysis critical control points. This is what it is called, a predominant process in the food industry. Okay, so if you broadly see this terminology, we are just going with this. Okay, so Hsccp, what is Hsccp? It's a method or a process what industry generally follows in an internationally accepted way. Food safety is not only related to regional aspects, it is international requirement. When the people of national level people, international people talks about something in food safety, they use this term called as Hsccp, hazard analysis and critical control point. If you see this here, very specifically they have just given hazard analysis and a critical control point, and is very important. And this is a widely accepted method, and which will be managed to go with minimizing the risk concept. Means, like, when we are manufacturing food, you understand, like, it is very easy task to prepare a food, but it is really not. If you in a food industry, what happens? The raw material what we generally get before we are starting this food, this raw material will be converted into a food product. Say example, if I am wanted to manufacture a biscuit, how I am manufacturing a biscuit? Is it so easy that I can manufacture biscuits anything? No, it is not. You can take wheat, then you add sugar, and you add gluten if it is required, and you add other compounds also, like flavoring requirements, other products. All this put together after a lot of process means, in the process I will be mixing, then I will be heating it to a maximum temperature. I may heat it to 180 degrees for approximately 25 minutes. So this is what the critical requirements. If I'm making it, heating it, then I will be able to get a proper product called biscuit. So this is how a biscuit is getting manufactured. If I am manufacturing a biscuit, there are a lot of risks involved, because the raw material what I am getting may not be a good quality. How I will be able to understand whether these biscuits of the ingredients like wheat, sugar, maida, all these things, is it good quality or not? I can't able to justify by seeing itself. I can't able to understand by touching or by tasting itself. There is a requirement. And while mixing, I will be adding lot of other ingredients like water, fat I will be adding. So this fat may be good quality vegetable fat, or other fat which is generally available margarine. There are a lot of requirements in fats, right? So I will be adding lot of products into it. So at any point of time also my product goes bad. If that is going bad, means that doesn't means the entire process is wrong. Maybe somewhere in the process of mixing I got wrong. So I will be able to calculate that what is my product, whether it is the happens, is it wrong with the heating mechanism or the mixing mechanism, or some process with sugar is may not be good quality. This is what I am able to understand. Okay, so when you implement this Hsccp principles in this manufacturing activity, so you will be able to understand what are the risks involved in it. So that risk might be heating specifically, or finally I am resting this product for 15 minutes. If the resting is not given properly, it may also have a cracks. So like that we have to understand the entire process flow, then we understand the critical control points, we frame certain control measures, then we get our finished product very properly. So that is what we are understanding this Hsccp. And what is Hsccp? This is applicable at a farm to fork level. This is what any food safety management system means, a process where you will be finding the safe food, understanding the product, understanding the risk, and delivering the safe food. This is what the concept of food safety management system. This food safety management happens from farm to fork. It is not like from the manufacturing level. If I am doing just only doing things, it is not possible. From the farm level, maybe my raw material having high amounts of pesticide residues, or my fat having any rancidity products, rancidity control. Rancidity means it will be oxidation is happens in fats. That is a chemical process in between fats. Like that we have to understand it very clearly, so that the concept has been from the beginning of the product raw material to the fork level, means the person consuming it, he has to understand that concept. Okay, so this is nothing but a common sense approach, means the sensible approach where my food gets spoiled. That is the common sense what I have to understand when we are implementing it. Then what are the control measures? Yes, I understand there's a problem, my food product is getting spoiled. Here is the exact step every time my problem with heating. So what is my solution where I can control it? Here you can able to understand a preventive system. This preventive system will give you a better process. Once the mistake is done, then again you go back to the process, identify the risk, give a control measure, how to control it, and start working on the preventive measures. Make sure that this mistake will not repeat again. So that's what. So there are risks. What is Hsccp means? Hazard analysis. What is a hazard? This is nothing but a long risk involved. Whatever the risk in the process, we call that as a risk. Okay, so it is age-old process. The history of Hassab, if you see, it is very important for us. History of Hassab, what we have to understand is very important. So lot of people understand Hassab has been invented in US, United States, with the help of NASA. Okay, this NASA has done a lot of research on the food products, means like when they are sending Neil Armstrong into the moon. So an astronaut is very much important for a society. If you consider a general phenomenon like a person, NASA astronaut is almost equal to around 10,000 people, common people on earth. So like that his health is very important when he goes into the moon. Not like that recent terminology is like people goes to the moon and come back in a 1 week of time. Like in early 1960s, you can't able to have a clear understanding where the person goes, how many days it will takes, and when he will be coming back. There is no clear idea. So scientists has to create some food to the person who is going into the moon. Then they have understand like a lot of food product. They have tried lot of food products and they understood nothing is safe. Means after 1 day 2 day the food is getting spoiled. At the same time he can't eat the grains. He needs a lot of nutrition in the moon. So they have started working it. The history is like this. Okay, so in early 1959, they have NASA has created some technology. That this technology I can able to clearly say is like, they wanted to identify the process how this product is get becoming risk and what are the risks and how I can able to made this product into a very safe level. Then they started working the concepts of Haccp, hazard analysis and critical control points, with the topmost scientist level at that level. World Health Organization and Codex has been done a lot of research on food safety aspects. Then they have started, NASA has started, and the concept is very clear, ready. Then they wanted to implement this process. Then they want to implement in the process. Where they wanted to implement process? What is the industry? Then Pillsbury has started. They said like, Pillsbury, they wanted to work on this kind of aspect. So then they will be selling with the help of NASA and Pillsbury. They started working on this program. They implemented, they have built a new premises where they wanted to have a clear cut mechanism of understanding. So this is specifically designed for a implementation of food safety program at a United States space program actually. So astronauts, when they are going to moon, they wanted to have a clear understanding. So after that, it is not that very much easy. Like in the next year, they will be implementing it. They took a lot of time, means almost like 4 or 5 years they have taken to understand the concepts. After understanding the concept, they have built this concept in a very real manner, because for the moon, like they have done some products, they have given it, the concept has been cleared and it is went. Later on they see the product, they have got a very good name in the market. So Pillsbury is the top one first company who has adopted the Hsccp. You will be able to make question, get a question in that. What is the company which has adopted the Hsccp in a real time manner? Pillsbury. This is belongs to the General Motors. Okay, General Mills, sorry. So General Mills is the terminology you have to remember. They have done this in early 1960s. They have implemented this concept of food safety in US. Okay, General Mills. In the General Mills, there are multiple companies. Pillsbury is one division. Okay, they have taken into in 1964. Then it has become a very popular, and lot of companies they wanted to start implementing it. And Pillsbury is the first company implemented this activity in a very successful manner in their all of the products. After implementing it 1971, then the FDA has proposed this concept of program to enabling to lot of manufacturers. So lot of manufacturers, obviously one company is going good means the other people also wanted to start implementing the same. So then 1971 they started, like an FDA has announced that this concept is very open concept, anyone can started implementing it. Then they have designed a specific program to all food inspectors in FDA in 1972. They are given almost like, like ISO, we go for 5 days of training. They went to 11 days of training. Then the concept has been arrived. After this training, then they have nationalized this program called as hazard analysis and critical control point. First published, they given some guidelines inspectors and they have used it first term in 1973. This is what it is very important to you. So the industrialization of Hsccp has done. Okay, so in 1973 they have started first printing it. Industrialization happens in 1980s. All industries adopted it in a worldwide manner, whoever the industries wanted to implement it. Then Hassab has been entered into the European Union law. Food safety is like worldwide implementation in 1990s. This is what, along with the European Union and along with the other European Union countries, has started implementing it. Then 1993, then National Advisory Committee. This is the committee, like, what we see called as Codex. Okay, this National Advisory Committee in 1993 has adopted these guidelines in the microbial risk safety, and they started also working on these principles in 1993. Then this has been very predominant in lot of US market and European market. This predominantly they are using it, and Hsccp also first window Haccp solutions like in 2000 they have given to online customer. Okay, so solutions like companies like consultants and start working in 2000. So this is the history of Hsccp. If you see this once again, 1959 they started working with Pillsbury in NASA for the first astronaut to send in the moon. The company name is called General Mills. Then they have done the activity in 1964 in industrialization, like first industrialization with Pillsbury. Then they have started working on the programs in 1971. FDA proposed this program to be a international program. Then in 1972 the food inspectors of FDA has taken this training. In after that 1973, first book in about Hsccp has been published in the US. After later on in 1980s and 1990s, they have introduced this concept to the worldwide market. European Union people, all these people, they have adopted this program. In 1993, a National Advisory Committee has worked on the standards implementing adopting microbial food safety in 1993. 1998, they started working on businesses. 2000, people also engaged into consulting into worldwide online activity they has done. This is about Hsccp. Why only Hsccp? What is the benefit of Hsccp and what is the flexibility in Hsccp means? This is almost like food safety management system based on Haccp principles. This is specifically talks about codex. National Advisory Committees and also specifically works on the Codex Alimentarius commissions, and it talks about specifically about hazards, and it talks about the control point, generic control points, like how this control measures has been into consideration, and good hygiene practices, GHP. You also have this GHP, good hygiene practices, and Hsccp. And sensory evaluation it talks about lot of skills, lot of understanding, identification of problem and finding a solution, and a specific review in documentation and verification. Like that there are a lot of requirements. Okay, so why Hsccp means at the time there is no at all food safety, and food safety is a very costly affair in United States or other countries, because whenever people have a lot of legislative requirements it is available, people used to claim if any food poisoning thing happens and the customer and manufacturer will be a gone case. So they have implemented the best effectiveness, so it is very cost effective. Only the logical requirements only you have to input. So if you input that common sense and understanding why it is happening, so cost effective, logical, common sense approach, it is all about minimizing the risks, and it also controls the prevents foodborne illness. Foodborne illness means anything which will be after you eating food, no, something happened to that a consumer. If he is taking the food and something bad happens to make stomach upset, motions, vomitings, or nausea, something, these are all called foodborne illnesses. Okay, so that's what, and it is very much satisfactory result it is delivering to the manufacturers. Tension free life, okay, enhance the customer satisfaction. Customer also feels the product is good, I'm not having any kind of troubles, so it is accepted by the people. So that's what it is. So people are so crazy about it. So this is all it is nothing but these are the same requirements. Improvement in marketability, people trends, like Pillsbury has done a lot of business using the terminology we have done working with NASA. We have sent our food to moon. Like these kind of market publicities has enabled the entire market to rethink about the traditional marketing. At the time, now we have a lot of marketing techniques, like we put it through social medias and websites and campaign. At that time there is nothing, it's only a paper or the news articles only. So NASA, with the help of NASA, Pillsbury made into headlines. So this has given them a lot of benefit. Like people also thinking to utilize this kind of a similar opportunity to enhance the product life as well as customers experience also. Okay, and role of employees is like management must commit towards the understanding of food safety, and employees also to work towards all this concept. So we will just quickly go through the Hassab principles. Before, if you understand Hassab principles, Hsccp principles, how many it might be, it, like it is 7 principles. It is, always remember, Principles in Hsccp are 7 and steps in Hassab are 12. There is difference, principles and steps. Steps is nothing but the entire structure involved in it. Hassab principles only the concept involved in it. So if you see these 12 points, there are steps involved and principles also. So we'll just go through this so that you will be able to understand very clearly. See if you these steps. So this is first one, preliminary steps. First one, Hassab principles means hazard analysis and critical control point. And people thinks first one, conduct a hazard analysis. Before we are conducting hazard analysis, and what is a hazard? Hazard means something dangerous. You write hazard. What is a hazard? If I tell like it is dangerous, something problematic to your human, or something problematic to the customer, it is means something dangerous. This hazard, how we can able to understand this hazard? What is the concept of understanding this hazard? You will be able to write it. How many types of hazard? There are 4 types. First one, you write it as physical. So I'll be changing my pen so that you will be able to at least remember. Okay. Chemical. And third one, we can write it as biological. Physical hazards, chemical hazards and biological hazards. What is physical hazards? What is a hazard? Means anything which has a potential to cause damage to the person is referred to be a hazard. Anything means like when we consider it is like a paper or metal pins or any kind of a chemical in the food, a high level of bacterial contamination in the food, anything which has a potentiality to cause risk to the human being or a consumer, you can consider that as a hazard. Okay, that is simple definition. Anything. Okay, you can write anything which has a potential. Which has a potential means it has to cause some damage. Potential people means something like predominant people which can do some real kind of a damage. Potential to cause adverse health effect. What is adverse health effect? Okay, adverse health effect means rest of the day like we don't have any kind of problems, we continue our day, we eat and we digest and we go to our sleep. That's a biological cycle what we do. Adverse effect means it is causing some damage to our biological cycle. So it might be stomach upset, it might be a problem or anything also you can able to consider. Okay, so adverse health effect, this is what it is called hazard. Okay, so when we coming into the physical hazards, what is a physical hazard? Examples of physical hazard, anything which you see. Physical means a physical object, means which you can able to see in front of you. A paper, yes. A pen, yes. A glasses, anything which has a size. When you go to 6th grade, what is a physical object means? You will see size, shape, visibility, weight. So these objects, if you consider size, shape, visibility, weight, these and all you can able to think. This is physical. So anything which has this kind of a forms are called as physical objects. Okay, examples of physical hazards means something dangerous, it has to anything. So example I can able to give, if something coming in food like paper, a paper has come in just food, like when you ordered some food in the market, then you will get some a paper in that, isn't very bad, like, so that will be a hazard. Then you ordered some burger, in the burger like you find a small plastic bit paper, or else you can find some metal piece or some cleaning tool, something, anything which you are able to see, so that is called hazard. Okay, so you can write metal, glass, or you can write plastic, rubber, anything which is non-edible. Okay, so you can write lot of examples also, even human hair. Okay, you can consider as a physical object as far as you can see. Then we go into chemical hazard. Okay, so chemical hazard, if I'm going into chemical hazard, so what might be the chemical hazards? how many chemicals we can able to get in the food? Naturally, we see a lot of chemicals. Some chemicals comes with the process, some chemicals comes naturally along with the food. So if I talk about this naturally coming products in the food, you can give an example like, products which is coming from agriculture. Example, we will take the same example of wheat, which will be used as ingredient in the uh, biscuits. So when the rain comes, so if you see the rain, like, there is no specific timing in any countries, like, people wanted to there after harvesting, suddenly rain falls. Once the rain do some damage to that, then there will be some kind of black discoloration on the product. You can see fungus or any kind of aflatoxins. After a fungus will be affected, the product will release some aflatoxins at the time of their going. So that are called as aflatoxins, mycotoxins. Okay, ochratoxins. These are aflatoxins. Okay, biological toxins. These comes along with the natural level, and some pesticides, because farmer doesn't know anything about Haccp. He doesn't know anything about food safety. His duty is like he has to raise a crop and he has to sell it in the market. Until unless he can't able to understand like what is that, I have to use this pesticide or not. He don't have a give a damn. So he will just go through whatever the chemical is suggested by the agencies. He will do that and he will make sure that there is no worms in the product. He can continue with that. So this is the concept what they generally do. So these are all comes in a natural level. And process, when we are manufacturing a biscuits or when we are manufacturing some kind of a food product, what will be the process induced chemicals? They might be using lot of different chemicals also. Example, they will be using additives. So hope I understand you know something about additives. Additives are nothing but some kind of a small chemical compounds which will be used in the process to enhance the natural properties of that. So example, if I wanted to make my biscuits longer stable, so I'll use some preservatives. So that preservatives might be we will be going with calcium propionate or some bread improver, something else. So I will be using it. So those are called additives. Additives are widely used in the industries like emulsifiers. They will be using antioxidants to reduce the fat oxidation, and they will be using anticoagulants, means anti-free flow, anti-caking agents, colors, flavors, and some other methods, a combination of stabilizing agents, glazing agents. There are a lot of additives. So if you have some time, just search in the internet, that is called additives. And additives are all given with the INS numbers, international numbering system. So if you see a food product, on the food product it will be called as citric acid, INS 330. So like that they will be mentioned. So additives will have INS numbering system. These additives, if you use excess quantities, so if you go to the regular industries, like if you go to a restaurants, like the people to give a intensify look to your biryanis or your paneer butter masalas or butter chicken masalas or palak paneer, they will be using some colors. So you will be ordering a palak paneer, it will comes into lot of green. So you don't expect that green also. After you eating, if you see your hands, it will be so much like mehendi kind of a thing. So what is that? This is all the colors. They're not supposed to use in that, but they have used it. So like that we will have a understanding whether the additives shall be used in this product or not used. So this is additives. Then if you use more than the approved quantity, then it is a problem. It will be directly a chemical. It will be directly goes into your people's or children's intestine. So these might be additives. And sanitizers, they will be using sanitizers. Because of COVID, like we are using a lot of sanitizers because to ensure that no virus, COVID virus on the hands. So this sanitizers also will be directly coming in contact with the food. If you are using excess quantities, every frequent times you are going and using excess quantities, then you are touching the dough, and this will be directly goes into that. Those are the chemicals. And a lot of machines we are using, lubricants. So machine lubricants we are using, so this machine lubricants also goes into the food oil. Whenever the oil leaks out from the machine, then it falls into it, then people consumes it without knowingly or unknowingly. Like that we have a lot of other chemicals. Okay, so these and all having high possibilities into comes into process, and cleaning agents more of high. So whenever we wanted to clean the table, so we use chlorine or some kind of soap to understand cleaning is what we do. So if you're using excess amount of soap, so the residues will stays on the floor, then our table. So when we add some dough and mixing it, so this also comes along with the food. So like this we have a lot of chemicals also in the food. So we done with physical, chemical, and there we left with biological. Okay,